When people listen to UK guys spit, trust me, they think the same thing. Exactly the same thing. No, there. Hey. No. Hey, that's fine. Guys, join it.
Looking back on all that we have learnt, grime has influenced more than we have realised. It was a voice of a generation, an unheard generation. We started our search for the heritage of grime at the London Museum. Whilst not about grime, we still took away a lot from the punk exhibition, from names and faces to clothing and swastika.
What's grime?
Grime?
Yeah, what's grime, yeah.
Grime is a music movement as well as sort of a kind of cultural movement, which is those who grew up in lower income and poverty-stricken families. They would use this opportunity to make music as a way to express themselves and show to sort of the world their way of thinking and another side of looking at things. And it became more than just music by the end of it. It became a culture and a way of sort of thinking and expressing themselves for certain people, and that really did bring to light some of the issues that were going on in more poverty-stricken parts of the country.
What are the issues, you know?
The issues
yeah.
In what, grime?
Yeah.
The issues, I suppose, that some of the music and some of the parts of the movement that could be quite violent, quite aggressive. So looking from the outside in, it would appear to be quite a sort of bad movement. People would think, why would you want to join this? But if you were to listen to the lyrics, it's all about how that crime isn't something you're born into, it is merely more the lack of opportunity. So on face value, it would seem quite aggressive, but getting into it more, if people would get into it more, they would see the sort of softer underbelly of grime.
Do you think there's another way to present grime instead of just in an aggressive manner to make it more appealing to other?
I feel everyone has their own way that they would present grime, and part of the grime movement in the first place is to not really be concerned about what others would think about the way you present it. You should present it the way you want to present it. As an artist of this movement, you should take pride in what you're doing rather than having someone else say you should change that.
Keep doing it.
The difference between punk and grime is that grime is a more rap, aggressive and different style, as in punk is more kind of the same attitude, but the music is a bit more really different. And because for myself, I do listen to punk music, so I can tell the difference.
From there, we still had much to learn.
Yo, brother, what you saying? Good, what you saying? Feeling a bit hungry, you know, bruv.
Because I'm gonna turn up with you.
So unannounced, came to the club with more than a bounce. Skipped to the bar, don't F with me, star. Got a girl with zeros in her account. Does it look like I'm effing about? My don's got pure keys for the drum.
Here's an interview we made with Saskilla. We asked him about how he started off, what challenges he faced, and his view on how grime has given a voice to the youth.
Seeing as there's many anti-establishment genres such as punk, how do you think grime fits into that? Like, what do you think grime means today, and what do you think it meant when it started off?
When grime started off, to be 100% real, no one cared about us. Not in the sense that you can just say, oh, we weren't cared about, and there was no money, and not to make it sound like a sob story, but no one cared about us. We were a forgotten generation in a way that was on the streets, that is the cause in future times of like things like the riots, because there could have been riots back then, but it's just that there was grime, and there was a few outlets, like maybe a community centre that you could practice grime in, but there was no money in the community centre. There was no schemes. They weren't taking us anywhere on coaches. There was nothing going on. There wasn't even a football. It was probably burst. So the only thing that worked was someone bringing a microphone, there was some dusty decks in Woolwich somewhere, and then you'd see a bunch of us there, and we'd just be practicing, until they lock off the lights and then go home. And that was basically all we had until they shut that down and took that away even. So we were just on the streets doing stuff. Like it was better than going and robbing someone for their phone or something. It was something to do. And back then there wasn't much for us to do, so we felt forgotten. And then when you go to another person's area and then you MC there, and then that's probably the first time we've come out of our area, because there's so much inter-area beef, and you could get stabbed for going over here or get stabbed for going over there. So just being able to go to a rave, and that was the only green light you're allowed to go to that rave, then the people in the area aren't going to trouble you as long as you're going to that venue. That was like, oh wow, Hackney, what's it? It's different here, it's got different buildings, and you'd see stuff, and then you'd MC there, and then they'd know your name, and then from there maybe they're not going to trouble you again the next time you go back there, and then Tottenham, it looks different here, and then stuff like that. That was how we got out of our area. So from that we kind of learned a unity amongst ourselves of, wow, you know what, in this music industry thing we can all like have different beefs with each other, but on this grime thing, let's just leave each other alone. Like if you're from North London, you're from West, or you're from East or Southwest, I'll leave you alone because you do this. And then that was like a green pass amongst the hoods, amongst the people that lived in the area. So that left everybody alone. Everyone, if you were an MC, you got a blight. No one would trouble you. But if you were just there for your own reasons, you still get beat up. So I think once we learned a fake unity amongst ourselves, we learned how powerful we could be. And then that we did have a voice. And I think when Dizzy was like the first commercial artist from our genre to do something, he was like a beacon for all of us that, wow, we don't have to just be on the block selling drugs. We can do something else. Wow, there's opportunity. We can actually make it out of the area and actually have a life, or da-da-da-da, because maybe the teacher's not encouraging us as much to do da-da-da-da-da. So we're thinking, you know what, there's actually another path. You don't have to just play football. There's another way out now, which never existed, because not everybody can sing. So, wow, you can actually do this thing. So it was an option, and it was an opportunity to make money, and then to make your mum proud or whatever. And then I guess that was mainly how I felt grime was. It was very anti-establishment because the establishment didn't care about us. So this was our way of saying what's going on in our area. This was our way of saying how our generation feels, what we're talking about, our slang, our kind of stamp on the UK for the first time. The UK's real first ever stamp without having American influence. It was really our clothing, everything was us. It's anti-establishment now, but it seems a bit less anti-establishment because it seems so more accepted. But true grime people, like obviously like Wheatley's, Skeptors, they might be more commercially accepted, but their attitude is very still anti-establishment. Like, you know, F. David Cameron, we don't care. We don't care about his policies. He's never done anything for us. So we'll just carry on doing what we're doing and hope that people will follow us. Because anybody that's got a large following, you have a responsibility. You don't really see that at first, but then you realise later on that you have a responsibility, even if it's to your fans or the people that listen to you. So Dizzy knows that, Stormzy knows that, everybody in grime knows they've got responsibilities. A lot of the new grime artists, because grime's spread now, and it's not just a London thing, it's a nationwide thing. A lot of the artists, like you've got Psycho from Scotland, he's from Glasgow, he's going to be a massive grime artist. Then you've got the Olo twins, they're two Nigerian boys from Northern Ireland, they're going to be massive grime artists. Then you've got Asteroid Boys are from Wales, they're going to be massive grime artists. So now it's bigger than just the Stormzy's in in London. That's the London batch. But now you have all these different accents, all these different representations. There might be farms that they're talking about in Wales or whatever, or something. Not just necessarily that there is farms, but they might have a different take. They call themselves like the Farmyard Boys and stuff like that, which is not something that's naturally in grime. So the same way hip hop spread from New York, then it had this LA take, it had this Atlanta take, it had all these different versions of hip hop is what's happening in grime right now.
Seeing as you're from South London, was it kind of hard, you know, like fitting in with everyone else, seeing as everyone's from North?
Yeah, it was. It was very, very hard because back then, South itself was the biggest part of London. So South itself was broken up into South East, South West. South East and South West didn't really merge back then a lot. And so if you were from South East, depending on where you were from Woolwich or Lewisham, you had more of an opportunity to get into East London. and then through East London you could get into the grime scene. So when I started out my career, obviously New Brandflexx, it was me, Tiny Temper, my friend Boyer, and another friend Pete. And for me and Tiny Temper especially, to get in, we had to go through the East London route. So we went through East London, and then through there, whether it be Road Deep or Aftershock or other little crews that were in East London, helped us to get into the grime scene. So, okay.
Yeah, man, this project was great. Like, it taught me a lot more about grime. Like, growing up, that's what I listened to in terms of UK music. And like, I always used to see about, the area beefs and like gang wars and all of that, but I never had the full understanding because I was young. But now, like, I've spoken to certain people, I've gotten more knowledge about it, and it makes more sense now.
I have learnt about where grime originated and how people use grime in a way to express their way of life.
In this project, I learned that grime is more than just a musical genre. It's a cultural movement that represents a distempered youth.